Okay, so hi there again for another video World Cup 2018 preview. And there was a little bit of confusion maybe caused by myself about this last video and where I had been running this simulation. And some results I was not quite happy with, and I found the error. And it was a very small error, and one could hardly notice it. And actually, this was based on earlier versions when I was trying to. It's a bit difficult to explain. Anyway, there was a minor error in that. So I'd like to repeat that and do the whole simulation once again, and this time in the compiled version. And actually I had to convert this version to a new fourth dimension version. So this had happened in the meantime. So anyway, I'm not using this Parallels anymore, which was running on the old I forgot all the hardware on the old system, the old, what is it, the computer, all the computer is running on, the software. I forgot the word for it. Also in German, I wouldn't know now. This is an updated version of this, and I removed these errors, this very tiny, and now as it's the compiled version, it's gonna run through quickly. And I'm doing everything, so with these, the Spielstärke update, when I update it with the results, I will leave away here, because the evaluations are in now. I was trying to explain that in some depth in the older videos, just to remind you, come back to that. I have all the teams here. You see all that stuff, lots of figures. And I even have this old version. I do not store this. And now I have this ranking here. This is the ranking it's based on. And here are the teams, all the teams, also the international teams. And those had been exported from my database. And every player here is identified with the team he's playing for. So if it's a lower team, it's a lower assessment, and so on. And so every team is evaluated like that. Then I have a ranking here, unsorted, because it's just in the order I entered it. And then here it's sorted by this quotient. And here in the end it's put to a mean, although this is not quite maybe I made some changes afterwards, but this makes no big this is no big mistake here, something like that. This was much bigger, so actually it should be corrected by these figures here and so on. So everything is mean, so it's on the mean value, so it's these sums should be the same. But all these evaluations have been entered then in the process into my database, which I lost again here. And I could show this as well here. This is the new fourth dimension. And here it may be a bit difficult to read for you, but anyway, these are the prices compiled on these evaluations. And the evaluation, I have this button here, and I can show this here. So this is very close to Spain 2.78, and here it's 2.70, 2.76. So this is rather the mean value, so this is a lot better. This is a bit better than this one, but it's just set to the mean value. the average team is 1.0. This is what it's trying to achieve here. Anyway, this is the same order here and very close to these values. Panama are the worst, Saudi Arabia second worst, Costa Rica, and so on. So I worked out this ranking in the way I told you. I explained it. I entered all those evaluations into this database. I compiled the prices on this basis. So these prices, or you could refer to these probabilities, but it's not. Yeah, this is those are the probabilities. 20.2% for Portugal to beat Spain. It will be difficult to read for you. Anyway, those are the probabilities and the prices, or the true prices and the prices for the games. So one could compare this as well at the market, but it is not what we are trying to do. The simulation running now 1,000 times, and it goes pretty quickly, so we can just wait here. And it will be through in a second, in a minute, no less than a minute. And it's based on this evaluation worked out like that in the way it did. And now we are running the simulation with a proper settings, and this small bug corrected within my software. The bug was, if you want to know, because we have these few seconds now, the bug was that it did not recompile these prices. So, and as I had compiled prices before, and it did not, during the simulation, did not recompile those prices. And so it was referring to these stored prices. And if there was a bad price here somewhere, it was referring in the simulation to this, so to say, bad price. The way this simulation is running, I may show in a different step, but the way it is in a different video. But the way it is running, it is based on these goal expectancies. So if there is 0.88 goals for Portugal and 1.60 goals for Spain for this game, then the simulation will rather run through the 90 minutes, you could say. I made a function for that, but it will go through the 90 minutes and simply score goals in the... And in 1,000 simulations, it will just produce a random result, and in 1,000 simulations, they will be distributed like that. 0.88 goals per game for Portugal and 1.6 for Spain. So here's the result of this simulation. And as this one may be difficult to read, I will export this one to Excel, so we can read it there. So I have to widen that window. I have to try to find the proper folder for that. Okay. Let's call it simulation 2 for now. Okay. Here we have all the, and I could also do the Gruppensieger stuff here, but it will be a bit too small, and I can't see how I could maybe make a screenshot and make this one wider. I don't know. But I will open this Excel file, so it's these same results. And I will instantly do the zoom here, This was simulation to the one we just exported in this moment. So you can, but we could of course as well compare the results here for group winner, for example, which is down here, Russia. This is not the group winner. Did I do? Here, group winner, 358 times. You see that, 358. So, and this will turn into a true price. Here we have the true price, and here is the price. And we did the comparison with the market. It was pretty okay, but there was some confusion, and this was due to some prices not being recompiled, which they should have done, or you can also argue they shouldn't have done. Anyway, in this case, they were just wrong prices, or bad prices, not prices I wanted to have. So here we do have the group winners, for example. So this column here, I could take this one away. This is market, or which one do we take away? This is just redundant here, and we could there's also a new version. I don't want the standard, I want Zahl. This is ridiculous. We do not need second place or things like that. It's just the group winners, so to say, with a, and yeah, should I divide this into groups, or I don't know. But anyway, if we have this group, we could do the comparison now, or you can do it yourself and just check with the market. But those are results from a simulation which is running the way I wanted it to run, and not like the first one. And here we have to qualify for the last 16. You can rather forget about all these here, because all we are interested in is after that the chance, what did be this be here? True prices 1.6%. Ah, okay. So those are the ones we would like. Here's just, you could check 16 times they did win the title in 1,000 attempts. So this is the true price. So we can, to win the World Cup, and here I will leave it as is, 62.5. So if you get better than this price, then you should go for it. And there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that never won the World Cup in 1,000 attempts. I could run 10,000 and at some point they would be there. But this means the probability is, so to say, less than 1 in 1,000. It could be 1 in 2,000, 1 in 5,000. It could also be better than 1 in 1,000. Still did not occur. Those are just the results. So here you could have the group winners and compare this, and those are the proper prices, and also the World Cup winners. And this is the true price. So you give, if you get better than 12.5, you should go for it. Denmark, I mean 125 you will never get, you may get 50 or something like that, so this is close to the computer. But one should rather refer to those teams that are in a decent range. And I mean Russia, I don't know. And of course 62.5 is a 16 in 1,000 that may be realistic, but you won't get this price, of course, so you should not go for it. But this is about the stage where you should start considering. So if you get better than 41.66 for Uruguay, you should go for it, but most likely you won't get that. You would never get this. But for Spain, for example, you will get better than 5.4, you may get 6.5 or something like that. You may also get 7 for France, I don't know. So this would be, so to say, in the eyes of the computer, some very small advantage. In the bet. Argentina maybe, right? But yesterday the news came out who is not going to go to the World Cup. So like Ibrahimovic is not going to go to Russia. And of course there are several reasons for that, which are, you know, I would not like to judge on that. But I did not enter Ibrahimovic leaving, so to say, and I actually identified him with Man United, as I said, so Sweden might be a bit weaker and I could do still some fine-tuning there. But are they really weaker without him? Because he's now 37, or at least he's going to turn 37 this year. And of course, he's an outstanding footballer, and for the World Cup 2000, for the European Championship in 2002, I predicted him to be a star. This is 16 years ago? No, that would be what. So 2000 that was, yeah, in 2000, 18 years ago. He was very young. I predicted him to be one of the, could be a star player. Well, I'm not sure now, but it was, yeah, it could be World Cup 2002 as well. But anyway, so it's he's pretty old now and so on. But there are other such decisions when some of the players like Rabiot for France, he was of course one of the great players for PSG. But they got so many players, and so they said, well, he's not within the top 23. And then he said himself he's not going to go, even if he would be called now. And he's only 23 years now, I think, Rabiot. But so he is vain. He is offended, feeling offended by not being nominated. And there are different reasons for that, but would that have an impact? Sure, yeah, in some sense, it's a... But those star players and key players, they might also have a bad impact in some sense, right? So coaches may be right to not nominate them. Yeah. Who was the other one? 2 defenders, I would say. But sometimes it's injuries as well, or sometimes, you know, I'm not sure. But those star players, they have the tendency. Sometimes it's also the clubs, they sometimes do not appreciate if they are going there, even because they might get injured. So sometimes they might even pretend an injury somehow. Well, it's a bit complex, those things. But we are pretty close here, and actually you could compare these prices. I have done that already, so you could do it again. But now we are a lot closer. But we could consider teams within the range, as I said. If Switzerland won 16 times as often as Russia did, of course this could as well be 20 times instead of 16. So, because the simulation just produces this results in one case and those results in another one. Of course I could quickly run another one and just to see what happens if we omit that, even be a bit faster, and then we could compare. So those are not reliable prices. Those are not like real true prices. They are just what is it called in mathematics? Relative frequency. Right, it's just how often it occurred, so to say, within these 1000. So the simulation is different, but still you're getting out very decent results, of course. People need to understand that. And I would not, I would not dare at all to judge those probabilities better than a simulation could produce. I could reassess the teams in some sense and then look at a new simulation run. But not say, well, this 6.5, this is a bit too much, so I'm going to go to 5.5 or something like that. I mean, if I were betting office, things like that, then you could adjudge that according to the bets coming in, which usually a bookmaker is obliged to do, or is what his job would be, right? Make the book, so adjust the prices according to the bets coming in. So just to have this one comparison, what do we have here? This is first place. So Russia were 18 times won instead of 16 times. And just to have this once compared with Switzerland, 17. So they both have a different value now, 18 instead of 16, which would be, they both had 16 last time, and now they have 17 or 18 respectively. But we could have in percent, yeah, that's percentage, and we could have, yeah, and we could have true prices. Yeah, that would be 55.55 instead of 60, what was it here, 62.5. And for Switzerland, that would be 58.82 instead of 62.5. So this is not a big difference anyway. But we could compare Spain, of course, 6.21. Now this is obviously quite a bit different. And actually France took over here. They won the World Cup within this simulation more often than Spain did. Which is a bit, yeah, it's a bit curious as a result, but I have it here now so you can have a look. And but it still could possibly mean that France in some cases have the lighter route to glory, which you can hardly tell by these, you know, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, this is 1, this is 4. So this is these 4 meeting one of these 4. So this is hard to judge, but in the next round, this is a lot more difficult to even guess who's getting the easier opponent, so to say. But it can be that for some reason they have the easier route to the final, right? They are the weaker team, but still it's almost as likely for them to win the World Cup. Of course, I would be tempted to run another one, but I leave you with this, so you can even judge yourself. So the simulation is not such a reliable function. Yeah, it's not. You get this result or you get that result. Sometimes I'm doing 10,000 because it's, for me, it's just a couple of seconds more to wait, and then the result does get a bit more reliable, you would say, right? And you can say, well, in 1,000, in the 10,000, you wouldn't have these many. Well, the surprises will be leveled out. Do we have anyone winning here who did not win before? Saudi Arabia did not win once. Iran did not win a single one. Australia did not win one. Peru, they did win here, but never won one here. So you see, sometimes the less likely teams will still win, or instead they won't win one. South Korea didn't win a single one, was the case here as well. Here, Tunisia, Panama, Tunisia. Yeah, Panama actually won one. So you see that does happen times that the biggest outsider even wins the competition in 1,000 attempts, which is like 4,000 years, which is like how many? 100 generations, more than from Jesus, going back to Jesus' birth. Anyway, it's quite a bit, so it's pretty unlikely. But I'll leave you with this. I hope you enjoyed it. It's better this time, but so I had at least to make sure that this error, it did make some sense, but it was not quite the perfect settings then. So there were those results here are better. If you can check them, you can compare. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye. See you again.